Appeals Board, are you in favor of that? And the person that's on the deal for that is Bob, no, it's Rick. Citizen Appeals Board.
Depending on what you're trying to appeal, I think we do need to have, King County has I know this is a subject that's been up a lot and we haven't addressed the subject yet. King County has an ombudsman position, which I saw it on Monday on a little wall and I thought you were the ombudsman position, because you've been talking about it before, so. Yes, I think we have, council should be that as well, but depending on, how what you're asking that citizens group to advise, I think it's something we should consider.
Okay. Bob?
An appeals board, it depends on what we're looking at. We've talked about in our village advisory committee is to have an appeals board for an appeals group. If somebody had a problem with the building permit or the way that the building department looked at it, they have a group of citizens, it would probably be our building advisory board, that you go and talk to them to see if that was the right decision or not. Other things, they're legal and ancillary items, the county has taken a step back, and that's why we have a hearing examiner. I'd like to see a step in between there so that you go and appeal your case before you go to the hearing examiner. I like to see that layer. The way that the charter's written down, I believe that we could still have that hearings at the council level, but I haven't got clarification on that. But that's how it used to be in the past. If you had a problem, you went to the council, and the council made the decision. The hearing board now has taken a lot of that action away from the council. So I'm just not sure if you could have another hearing board ahead of the hearing examiner. So I would like to have it so that people could come forward with their problems and see if we could resolve them before we end up in Don Eaton's office.
Michael?
Well, the Builders Advisory Council for over a year now, maybe, Ralph, has been trying to get a builders review board, which is specified and it's laid out in the UBC, so they just have to follow the, it's already done in other communities. What I was working for was a citizen review board for other decisions, like land use decisions. I've been involved with the county in a couple things, and I know some friends who were too, and in every instance, if I'd been able to sit down and actually talk to somebody and explain what's going on, there would be no need to go to the courts, to go to the hearing examiner. I could sit with anybody here and explain my position, and they would understand it. What happens when, like I say, if a county employee makes a decision, whether it's the code enforcement officer or the building permit person, you have 21, once the decision is made, you have 21 days to appeal it to the courts. And I've found it's very difficult to talk to the council. I have instances where I've talked to Bob, it didn't happen. I tried to talk to Rick, it didn't happen. Get to 21 days, you have to appeal it. And then, like I said, then you're in litigation, so you can't appeal it. I'm very much in favor of a citizen review board. The issue is that this final decision has to be made. So if the code enforcement officer comes out and says, this is my decision, he could instead say, this is my recommendation, and a decision will be made after the review board hears it. Right now, I've been subject of, I didn't want to make this campaign personal, but this question lends itself to it. For example, I've had 2 notice of violations on my property in the last 5-6 years. Both of them were rescinded in the courts. I tried to talk to the council about it, the 2 sitting here about it. I got no relief. The last one that was rescinded in the courts, it's still out there. I don't know if I'm under violation or not. Randy Gaylor said I'm not. I go to Rick, he says he won't answer my question. So this is something that a review board could take a look at. I could go into the review board and say, these are the facts, this is what's happening, is my property under notice of violation? And right now, I'm in limbo. Rick won't tell me. The last correspondence I had with Rick, he told me to have my attorney talk to his attorney. And that's what I will get away from if I'm elected. We need to get out of the courts, we need to resolve issues on a person-to-person level, and I think we're all smart enough and intelligent enough to do that.
Rick, we'll get back to you. Bill?
I certainly believe that a citizens appeals board would be great. Challenges will be appointing the individuals to that board. How are they selected? How are they appointed? Are they just my buddies, you know, or are they informed people about land use issues? So, you know, big challenge. We have a couple dozen advisory committees now that we're already, you know, theoretically listening to within the county. So the challenge is how to select those. The other challenge is land use is complicated. You know, Joe average citizen can't make decisions about land use. There are regulations, there are laws that need to be applied. If we clean up our regulations so the average citizen understands it, I think most of the litigation goes away and hopefully the need for an appeal board. But we can still have one because someone will object. And let's not go to court. Let's have an extra step, see what the rationality is, and see if, you know, a common person says, yeah, okay, that seems crazy. Let's figure out how to work this out.
Response?
Well, I don't know, I mean, I have tried many times with several people in the community to work through a solution, and Durland has the ability of saying something and it may not all be 100% accurate. I want to resolve the situation. All of his instances happened prior to me being in office. I did ask, I said, I've had conversations with him and he's taken my conversation and spun it in a different direction. So finally I said, I'm more than willing to meet with you if our attorney comes with and your attorney comes with. I think that's a fair request because I want to have a dialogue that's on the record. And that was never, he didn't follow through. So I'm willing to meet with you and your attorney and prosecuting attorney or deputy prosecuting attorney, and we can come to a conclusion, or try to come to a conclusion.
Follow?
Well, obviously there's more to it than this back and forth, but I do object to this interpretation of that. I've tried for months to get an answer. I filed a request for code interpretation, paid my fee, and I was told that the county does not give code interpretations to people who are under code enforcement. And that was my question then. Am I under code enforcement? Simple question, I did not get an answer. And these are exactly the, what?
The answer is yes, because they didn't talk to you.
Obviously, but yes, obviously. And so that's what I would try and prevent, or I would prevent issues like this coming up if I'm elected council. You can't treat your citizens that way. It's a simple question. Am I under code enforcement? I have not. It's been months. I have not gotten an answer. I imagine if I prevail and win the election, I will not be under code enforcement. If I lose the election, then maybe I'll be back under code enforcement. So we'll see what happens.